Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger, and today was a special day. It was our 30th wedding anniversary, and the Adrian Belew 25th solo album, which is called Elevator, arrived. So we made a copy of the disc. We put it on a TIFF card in this little portable music player. And I haven't had a psychedelic experience in like 15, 20 years. And what I experienced today listening to this, we went for a walk at Barth Pond. And I'll talk more about that later. I've actually got some pictures, and I'll put the song on. The song is titled "The Power of the Natural World," and in this piece, Belew ruminates on the beauty of nature and experiencing this piece at this park. The sun was dancing off of the water. It's a pond, and there was a pink hue off of the dancing light when the sun bounces off the water. And I was just beaming. I began to laugh, and then I had tears in my eyes. My wife was laughing at me. It was just stunningly beautiful. There was white birds flying around and dipping into the water and coming up. There was ducks and geese, people fishing and with their kids, riding bikes and jogging. It was like a idyllically beautiful day. It was low humidity. It was perfect temperature. The sun was just beginning to set, and that song came on, and I could not, it overwhelmed me. It was so beautiful, and hear Belew singing about that. So it worked out. It was a synchronicity. It worked out. It was just a golden moment that I will never forget. And I have a collection of, like unwrapping the cassette for Mr. Music Head and popping that into this Cadillac coupe, my boss's car that I used to get to drive, and it had kicker box, amplifiers, real expensive high, sound system, and how that album just knocked me for a loop. Mr. Music Head. There's high watermarks to Adrian Belew's career. Unwrapping the cassette for Young Lions in my wife's green Buick boat, this giant car, and hearing the title track and just being like, what is this? Like, it's African drums and chanting, and then this insane guitar that's on fire comes in, and then David Bowie's there, and they're singing Pretty Pink Rose, and with Belew singing harmony, and it's like Opsop Tua. I remember that just completely blowing me away, being on the porch with headphones on a beautiful day, having my lunch out there with Opsop Tua. But today's moment with Elevator was spectacular. The guitar solos were coming in, the familiar stuff, and then new stuff, new elements of Belew's guitar wizardry that I've never heard before. So I was just like bursting out laughing, and I had tears in my eyes. I had to stop, and I became congested because the music was overwhelming me, and I was crying a little bit, macho mist, So it was such a great way to spend our anniversary on this walk at this pond with this music. So thank you to Adrian. You guys, you really should check out this album. It's his 25th album. He wrote it as a reaction to COVID, to everyone being kind of disconnected from each other, and it's a little bit scary, and it's a little bit anxiety inducing for some of us, and depressing for others. So Elevator, the idea is it's supposed to lift your spirits, and boy, it really does. This album, it has the elements of the comedic stuff. It's got I don't want to say like Christ-like preachiness or songs with a message. It's just, even the best of us need reminders, and someone brave enough to come out and point out the fact that sometimes people are rude, or life doesn't always treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, or perhaps we might, our own selves need to be reminded to be nice, or think before you speak. These types of things, which always made me admire Belew, his writing. And like I always go through the list, people, Adrian Belew, he's that crazy stunt guitar player who does all the crazy guitar sounds. Well, he writes incredible, moving, really relevant, poignant and deep stuff, which also has elements of sense of humor. He could sing like a bird. Then there's the stunt guitar stuff. Then there's the fact that he produces and then he plays all of his own instruments. It's like he's kind of a monumental Renaissance man type of an idea. So this album is excellent. Elevator, it's a callback to his earlier work in that he did take a little bit of a detour after Ops Op Tuwa. He didn't tour. He did these sides albums, which led up to this album E that he performed instrumental music with the Metropole Orchestra. So he was concentrating on a more technical music, which is really hard for me to describe what he came up with because it's very much Adrian Belew. But it's more complicated but it's more musical. It's not just complicated music. It's incredible music. And there really isn't room for vocals in any of that. Really wasn't. So that left turn, at first when he started experimenting with that, I was extremely unhappy. I really was not happy. And then eventually I settled into it and I got it, what he was doing. And it really, because this music, it doesn't hit me right away. It takes a few listens before it clicks. But this Elevator album is just kind of a return to form to what he was doing earlier in his career, where it's like finely crafted power pop songs with really focused lyrics that aren't preachy, but sometimes they do deal with issues. And this album is ultimately, it's much more uplifting than any of that like finger pointing or preachy stuff. And again, I don't want to say that because it's really hard to describe how he does it, how he makes these points. Songs like Men in Helicopters, it's about guys flying in a helicopter shooting animals for sport. You know, and like I that song blew me away live when he was singing it. I couldn't handle it. It seriously like got to me. So there are thematic elements. There are moments on the album. It's Adrian Belew, but overall, it's Elevators. It's uplifting, and there's moments of humor. So it's a really well balanced album. As far as the sound of it goes, it's got a new sound. It really is much more modern sounding. There's elements that you hear like, oh, there's piano in this track. And of course, that brings to mind like Mr. Music Head. But this is new. It doesn't sound, it's got a real modern feel to it. And the guitar, it's not, the focus of the album is not really guitar. It's a really well-balanced pop album with really fine instrumentation. It's his 25th solo album, so he went out of his way to really knock it out of the park. And I think he did. I think this album is going to represent another high watermark for Adrian Belew. So check out the album, Elevator, and don't miss the tour. If you've never seen Adrian Belew, or if you have, you know what I'm talking about, because you won't find a better show as far as just a trio or maybe 4 people on stage giving it to it. So he does have a new drummer. But fear not, he's still got Julie Slick on bass, and she is something to see. Julie is the most talented bass player. She's incredible. So I'm super excited to catch this tour. What I'm going to do now, I thought I would try to share. My wife did take some photos today, so let's play this song, The Power of the Natural World. This is what was playing when I had this psychedelic experience today. Staring out at this pond with the sun. Sun is beaming down on me. It's starting to set, and it's dancing off of the water with this pink glow. And this song is playing, and it just overwhelmed me. And I was moved to tears. It was the most beautiful, excellent moment. The best Adrian Belew listening party I ever experienced. Because like I said, I've got these memories of hearing these albums. Like the first time I heard that album, I remember where I was and what the experience was like. Well, this one was exceptional. I was with my wife. It was her 30th wedding anniversary. I had this mind-blowing psychedelic experience with the water and the sunlight and the music. And I was there with the person I loved the most, and I couldn't contain myself. I completely broke down in laughter. I had macho mist. It was like I was almost full on crying. I had to keep blowing my nose. And I was like, stop. We need to just, she's trying to like walk. We're supposed to be going on a walk. And I'm like, I want to just stop and stare at this water bouncing off the sunlight, because there was this pink ghosting glow off of that. And pretty much by the time we made it around the pond, we had heard the whole album. So it couldn't have been any better. So I wanted to say a personal thank you to Adrian Belew for his lifetime of work. His 25th solo album, the beauty of it was not lost on me. It just bowled me over today, and I will never forget that moment that I had with this song. So I'm going to show you a montage of the photographs we took. I'll probably get copyright on this. I hope I don't get a copyright strike. And I will take it down if it's a no-no, but it's the only way for me to try to share this, and hopefully it would encourage some of you who are not familiar with his music to actually pick up the album. So you can go to Adrian Belew, .com. Let me see what his store is. I will put up a link. The official site is adrianbelew.net. He has a shop where you can purchase Elevator. It is $18 for a digital download. Spend the extra $2 and get the book with it. And you can get it signed for $30. So if you're a collector, I'm going to get my copy signed when I go to the show. But hey, enough of my yakking.
The power of the natural world, the beauty underneath her skies, beams of sunlight breaking through trees in autumn beside a stream. The power of the natural world, the colors beneath her seas, the infinite palette of patterns and size, the wonders of a coral reef. And when the earth was young, picture the way it was, thriving beneath the golden sun, virgin as yet untouched. The power of the natural world, the majesty of life on earth, glorious clouds draped in the sky at sunset on a shoreline. And while the moon and sun witnessed the transformations, millions of species come and gone, we are but a recent one.